Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're going to be trying out the new EZA INT Zamasu, another great addition to Tech LL Zamasu's team, and hopefully the team in part 3 will be rounded off with either or both INT Rose EZAs. Fingers crossed. So I'm looking forward to using this one. He is indeed rainbowed, level 10 links. He's been ready to go for months. We are starting out. Actually, let me get them some links, which, of course, considering it's a Zamasu unit, very easy to link. But he does have links like Cold Judgment and that, which we're probably not really going to have active, but it's fine. Does have that 40% damage reduction, of course. With some links active, we have a 429k attack stat, 231k defense, which is not bad, again, when you consider that this guy will raise his attack and defense by 30% on super. Would have been nice if it was more. But for the most importantly, or the most important part, has 40% damage reduction. 40% damage reduction. So, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying he's gonna be an absolute god. 3955, not bad. And an additional, so that's 30% attack and defense raises, which is very nice. Big 3.4 mil crit as well. I'm not saying this guy's gonna be an absolute god in Red Zone and Shadow Dragon event. But dare I say, a few stages, this guy could actually be a solid slot 3 unit. Not a bad option. He's also getting 180% attack and defense at the start of turn. He does also recover 7% HP at the, off of super attack as well. So a bunch of units on this team that do recover HP, which combined and totaled up, actually works out really well. I know the whole point is losing some HP so you can use the domain, but I thought that might have been a problem with AGL Zamasu. It never ended up being so. So, you know, what's an extra 7% gonna do? Or 14 if he gets an additional super. The healing with this team is very nice, and with how hard enemies can hit now, it probably won't affect you getting your domain active. I said I thought AGL Zamasu would probably cause that issue when he first dropped, along with like EZA, Rose, and Zamasu's healing. It never was. It helped keep your health at a consistent point in and around that mark, while also not being borderline dead. So I can only assume this will be more of the same. As I said, one of the biggest selling factors or selling features with this unit is the 40% damage reduction, which is great. Do we get any more links with Rose? We get Fear and Faith, which at level 10 is giving us, it's giving defense minus 10% to enemies and key plus 2. We don't really need it, but we are getting the support. So with the support, we're on a 481k attack stat, 259k defense, again 259k defense with 40% damage reduction, and then 30% on attack and defense on super. He then does get an additional attack defense plus 120%. The more HP remaining, the greater the boost, which of course we have now. 4.429 on super. No additional this time around or crit, unfortunately. He did dodge, though. Fair enough. But yeah, so, you know, as I said, with all the healing you're going to be getting from this guy and all the other units that will go on this team, I'm not saying you're going to be keeping your health or your HP at max all the time, but this, of course, is going to help keep your HP the higher to get more of the attack and defense boost. You'll then also get an additional damage reduction on top of the 40%. You'll get an additional 20% when all allies attacking in the same turn or Realm of Gods category characters. So right now, we do actually have the full 60% damage reduction. Which, 60% damage reduction with like between 2 to 250k defense, depending on if you're getting support or not, with Rose. But that combined with the full 60% damage reduction and then the 30% attack and defense on super. The possibility of a second if you have dupes, but the 30% you do get on SA effect. This Zamasu should be able to tank incredibly well. Like, really well. Like, I generally might try him out in Red Zone. This is how good he looks. And also, having all Realm of Gods category allies in one turn, considering the team you're going to be running him on 9 times out of 10, that's going to be so easy to trigger. There's only a few instances where you might change the team when you're using Tech LL Zamasu, and you might put a Golden Freezer on the team. Piccolo Jr. So every so often you might not have the extra 20%, but you still have 40%. Not to mention as well, that's if you run him on main rotation. which realistically, with the units we have here, how often are you going to do that? Tech LR Zamasu, LR Merge Zamasu, EZA Rose and Zamasu, EZA AGL Zamasu. Most of the time, this guy's going to go in slot 3. So that means you're never really going to have to not have a non-Realm of Gods category ally in the turn. The only time it would happen is if he's on main rotation and you've got like a Piccolo Jr. or something floating, or like a Golden Freezer. Or in the other case of he's on rotation and you have LR Merge Zamasu floating instead because of the whole same name typing with the Tech LR Zamasu. And again, you may have a Piccolo Jr. floating as well, but that's only every so often. It's not like you're permanently getting rid of it. So again, it's not that difficult to trigger. And if Dokkan does decide to give one of the Rosés or both the LR and TUR EZAs in part 3, that's an extra 1 or 2 additional units added to this team, which count Realm of God category units, which means you will hardly ever, if ever, not give him the full 60% damage reduction and get the extra 20%. Now, bearing in mind, you still might put Piccolo Jr. on the team because he's amazing on this team and works so well. Even at 55%, I've loved using him and I really want to dupe. That's only one turn. One turn that may not happen. And again, this guy, if those 2 units do get EZAs, this guy will probably be floating. Which means you're never probably going to run into that instance where you don't have a Realm of Gods category ally in each slot. So there is that. But to round out his passive, he does also launch an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack starting from the turn in which the character receives his 6th attack in battle. So once he's been hit 6 times, which in difficult content we've gone through loads and loads of times, really isn't difficult. Once he gets hit 6 times, he will have a 70% chance of an additional super built in, which means quite frequently, if it pops, you'll be hitting 2 super attacks in a turn. Now, damage-wise, you're not expecting anything crazy, but that will be 7% HP recovered each time with the other Zamasu and Rosie units that recover HP, which totaled up decent amount of HP you're healing and recovering every time. But you'll get a second 30% attack and defense raise, and if you have dupes, which I'm sure you would because this unit dropped all the way back in 2018, has been unfeatured ever since, you probably have dupes in him. If not, you have skill orbs, but for the most part, you have dupes in him, which means he can super 3 times in one turn, which means the damage for a side EZA isn't bad, especially if he crits. That doesn't really matter because you have the damage dealers. More importantly, he can super attack 3 times, get 3 30% defense raises while having 40% damage reduction. And if you do have a full rotation of Realm of Gods category units, we'll have the full 60 with 3 defensive raises by 30%, which is sick. Did we gain a link? Yeah, we gained Fear and Faith. I'll just leave it like this for now. Which I do want to see him triple, but is it going to happen? Additional supers don't really like to pop for me when I'm trying to actually show a unit off. He's definitely been hit 6 times. There's no way he hasn't been. If we don't get any crits, maybe we could get him to triple right now. Actually, no. We did double, though. So he potentially could have tripled here. Big 2.7 mil crit as well. So imagine all that defense off of one turn with a full 60% damage reduction. As I said, he can tank really well. I don't know specifically how much. I don't know how much he could tank in literal specific numbers, because I haven't seen no calcs or anything like that. But just off the top of my head, he could actually do really well. Like, usually with side EZAs, like, I might test them out if they look good or look interesting and, like, just a showcase, and that's about it. There's only been a handful I've actually tried in difficult content. For example, EZA Fizz SSJ Bardock. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but as long as he got hit and got his guard, or supered before he got hit to get his guard, along with the support, he actually did really well. For a side EZA, he was a diamond in the rough. And Zamasu, considering how good he's got it, which is a very good team next to him, very good units to link with, very easy to link him, and all this damage reduction, he could generally do well. I actually might do dedicated videos of him in like Red Zone and just see how he does, and then just keep going until like he just can't anymore. So let's hope we get a triple right now. We do have Rose support as well. I mean, you may not realistically bring him, but I've used him in the Shadow Dragon event. As long as you can manage to keep him out of harm's way, which is, you have to get fairly lucky, or use an item, you can bring him and utilize his support. So 259k defense, that's before any super attacks. We have the full 60% damage reduction. Can we triple? I just want to do it. I know it doesn't really mean anything here because it's not like this stage is hitting hard. But I just kind of want to do it to do it. So here's one with the support of 4.4. There's another one at 4.6. That's two 30% defense raises. So we're talking like over 300k. We did get the potential system additional. It just wasn't a super. So it was like a quick estimation. You're probably looking at around, with the support, maybe like near 400k defense with 60% damage reduction. Which, I mean, we've seen with AGL Zamasu. Bearing in mind that's like early doors when he's transformed. But we've seen that with AGL Zamasu. And he still tanks a lot of people really well. And he's only just started stacking. So, for a side EZA, this Zamasu is really good. Like, really good. And as I said, like, you get a bunch of healing with all of these Rose and Zamasu units, like, toppled up. Especially if this guy hits two additionals. That's 21% HP in total off of supering 3 times. But if Dokkan does decide, fingers crossed, I don't see why they wouldn't, but if they decide to EZA one of the Roses or both, not only is that a good thing in general, because hopefully they're sick, it makes Tech LR Zamasu's team stronger, and it helps out this guy get that additional 20% damage reduction even easier and consistent all the time. So let's hope it happens, but what an EZA. For a side EZA, very good. Do like him a lot. Gonna try him out on harder content. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you next video, guys. Take care of the rest of your day. And peace.